Good morning, I am SOPHIA JARVIA anak SUBAH from SMK LUAK Miri. Today, me and my team will present our action research entitled Games Among Us. As for the study background, there is a huge impact of COVID-19 pandemic in the education sector in Malaysia. As a result, most of the schools were closed for months due to the movement control order. All physical learning had to be replaced by online learning. Thus, through online learning and teaching process, teacher can use the game method, gamification, to attract students to participate in online classes. These are our issues of concern and problem statements. During the pandemic, one of the ways to conduct teaching and learning is via Google Classroom or Google Meet session, WhatsApp, and also Telegram group. During the first few months, the attendance was satisfying. However, their attendance gradually decreasing day by day. Besides that, the student shows a lack of interest and they are getting bored because of the conventional method used by the teachers, such as PowerPoint presentation, and it did not caught their attention. On the other hand, students show zero engagement during online classes. They became silent participants. With all of these problem statements, we came out with a possible solution to solve these matters. First, we introduced gamification in our online learning classes. We use game-based learning activities such as Kahoot, Nearboard, quizzes, and word walk. We chose these game-based activities because of the student-friendly game interface, and students can access it easily. Next, we go through the literature review. S.M. Saleh and H. Sulaiman in 2019 said that gamification is the process of adding game elements to something, in this case education, to increase motivation to do it. On the other hand, N. Yanis and I. Booth in 2019 said that gamification takes part in the game including points, badges, challenges, leaderboard, rewards, incentive, and so on, and applies it to pedagogy and motivates students to a higher and more meaningful level of involvement. So these are the objectives of our action research. The first general objective is to find out the effectiveness of using gamification during online classes. Second one is to improve the students' learning and engagement when studying online. As for the specific objective, this action research is to encourage Form 2 students' involvement attending online class by using gamification activities.
Next, I'm going to explain the problem review and analysis for our research action. As this was the first attempt in experimenting this action research with our Form 2 students, we started off with a small number of samples. The samples were a combination of 30 students of 2 Azam, 2 Cekang, and 2 Giging. There were a mix of weak, intermediate, and good level of students. So for the implementation of research, for the problem review, here we have random observation and response in teaching and learning activities. For the random observation, students' behavior were observed during online class. And as for the response, students' responses were assessed as they answered questions posed by the teacher based on examples of exercises provided during online class. As for the action implementation, an initial review of the research problems related to identifying students' lack of interest in joining and completing practices during online class. So observations are seen on students' learning behaviors in terms of students' attitudes and readiness when the teaching and learning processes take place. When teacher uses traditional approach like handouts and slides presentation. Students' attitudes are seen directly during online teaching and learning via Google Meet and their responses in WhatsApp or Telegram group. So the first step we carried out was a Jamboard session in getting the students' feedback from students while the teacher used PowerPoints in teaching them. The second step is by creating activities or questions from the game-based learning that we adopted. So we took the opportunity to conduct a series of online teaching, introducing few games that can be used to test their prior knowledge and what they have learned for certain topics. For example, students' prior knowledge are tested when they answer the quiz in order to explore the topic. Quizzes or questions are created using word wall, quizzes, and Neurpod. This is to expose them with some of the gamification game-based learning related to the subject or topic taught. And the third step is the questionnaire distribution. After applying the gamification game-based learning activities to them, we made a questionnaire to find out the students' responses about using gamification as an assessment tool. This study uses quantitative research methods in the study of the effectiveness of game-based learning among students in Form 2. A total of 30 respondents were sampled for the study. So the study design used in this study was a survey study. Through the survey study, the questionnaire is administered to the sample through a questionnaire form distributed online to overcome the constraints caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Quantitative data is the data obtained from the Likert scale used in the questionnaire items. The use of questionnaires can cover a large sample with low cost and can provide more accurate sampling. The questionnaire for this action research is divided into 4 parts, namely the background of the respondents, such as gender and class. Section A is the students' feedback on games. We have item A until item A10, item A1 until A10. Section B is the benefits gained by students during game-based learning. And there are items B1 until B2. And section C are the constraints or problem of learning through online games. And there are items C1 until C2. By using the questionnaire, we have gathered responses from the samples by having them to respond according to Likert scale 1 until 5 provided. So the Likert scale are from strongly disagree to strongly agree, consists of 5 answer options. So these are some of the game-based learning that we managed to adopt and adapt. And they are such as quizzes, Kahoot, quizzes, and word wall. As for the evaluation for this action research study, the finding related to the effectiveness of gamification methods used in the teaching and learning process are shown in Figure 1. Based on students' feedback on game, this study shows that the highest mean score is 4.47, as respondents agreed that game-based learning is necessary during the online PDPR to increase their desire to learn and to attract students in the teaching and learning process. They were very enthusiastic in using the games as an assessment tool. The visual appeal of advancements engages students and challenges them to notice that they are excelling in the class material. Hitchens and Tulloch in 2018, Sanchez and in 2017, in their study stated that there is positive feedback as most students find gamified classrooms to be more motivating and enjoyable compared to traditional styles without. For section B, the result indicates that the highest mean score is 4.20 comes from item number 5, which is I was able to hone my skills and show abilities in the game activities held. Therefore, indeed, students were very active in completing the task and gained good scores. The students really enjoyed the lesson as they get to compete with each other in accomplishing the task. The main purpose of this gamification is to motivate students as well as stimulate interest, according to Kelly in 2014. And according to Shell in 2014, gamification creates engaging experiences for players, as well as promote learning and problem solving, according to McGrath, Naomi, and Berlin in 2013. Next, as our research reflection, after several activities were implemented according to the steps carried out, the findings of the study showed that there was an increase of students' interest and participation in class. There was an improvement in the class attendance as they become interested in involving themselves, competing with each other via gamification activities. McGrath and Berlin in 2013 in their study stated that gamification promotes learning and problem solving as well as being able to build skills through each stage of the game. With the implementation of 21st century learning, as teachers, we need to be willing to have the effort to try out new teaching materials and teaching strategies. By having the gamification game-based learning activities, obviously, this is one way to promote and encourage students' interest in their learning process. Gamification may sound childish to our students. However, the visual appeal of advancement engages students and challenges them to notice that they can excel in class. According to Azawire in 2018, this can be a motivator to even the most unmotivated student, especially if they enjoy video games as a hobby. Many past studies have discussed the positive effects of game-based learning in the teaching and learning process. This can be proven through a study conducted by HUSIN in 2014, stated that gamification approach that uses game elements can stimulate and motivate practitioners so that teaching can be integrated in the form of games. In the context of education, gamification approach that uses game elements can stimulate and motivate practitioners so that teaching can be integrated in the form of games, according to Hussein, Tan, and Idris in 2014. Next, as for our recommendations for future research, Internet and social media are found to have a great influence on students. Therefore, they can search for more information on using game-based online learning to improve their academic achievement results. Nevertheless, students need to adopt to a new learning strategy in the era of 21st century learning environment. Besides, this is also in line with the implementation of teachers as facilitators in the classroom, encouraging students by having engaging activities, collaborating with other students. And this would suggest new questions for future researchers to bring forward when investigating the use of gamification for other types of activities. With that, that's the end of our presentation. Thank you very much.